Queen, how do you feel about that? Do you think that is accurate, or your experience in that realm?
I don't have experience in that realm. Luckily.
You're darn right you don't. Come on now. Good answer. 10 points for Gryffindor. Good answer.
But it unfortunately does not surprise me that the number is high. Yeah, and it's just I guess just from hearing, just from living life, and you hear other people talk about, their parents or, their relationships or whatever. So I definitely know that cheating, unfortunately, is something that is more common than it should be. Right. So it's at 20 to 40%.
Right. So I'll go ahead and read it. So extramarital affairs are responsible for 20 to 40% breakdown of most marriages and end in divorce. This is one of the most common causes of divorce. The reason why people cheat aren't as cut and dry as anger may lead us to believe. Welcome, Melanated Married Millionaires in the making and friends, to another impactful episode. We're about to go through and highlight a melanated married couple, or just go through some lessons that we got. Make sure y'all tap in with the conversation. Queen, where can they go to tap in?
TheeM4Show.com.
Yes, ma'am. And make sure y'all follow us on Instagram. Queen, where can they follow us on Instagram?
The M4 Show.
Now, if y'all haven't liked and subscribed, it would make the Queen very, very happy. If you can go ahead. Very? What should they do?
You should go ahead and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're watching or listening. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
It's free, and your first step to becoming a millionaire. Go ahead and click that button. And let's get into the show.
Let's do it.
What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. I'm one of your hosts, Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. And as usual, I have my beautiful, my luscious locked, my woman king. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to call you my woman king, but my queen for sure. Please introduce yourself.
What is up, everybody? My name is Sinclair, a.k.a. the Health Nerd. And yes, I am almost maybe a woman king. No.
Yeah, you go claim it?
No.
What are the steps? What are the procedures that go into? You gotta watch the movie again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not on her level, I'll tell you that.
Listen, warrior.
Look.
But I just saw Woman King for the first time. She saw it for the second time. Great movie. Coming back from Ghana and some of the conversations that we were having there with some of the locals and some of our own folks were like, what was the responsibility and the decisions that Africans made as a part of the slave trade? And I think the Woman King like hits on that, does not circle around it at all. And like the main king of it is really fighting against selling his own people and being a part of the slave trade and making an active economic and political decision to not be a part of it. Yeah. So that's a very good underlying message beneath the Black feminism and woman empowerment. I think that is another undertone that's there.
Yeah. And then he even kind of tries to justify it, saying like, well, these aren't our people. These are people that we've captured from other villages. And she's kind of like, they're our people. Right. They're all our people.
Right. Was it Dahomey?
That's the village. Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
once you're a part of Dahomey, you're it, right? Yeah. You're in the kingdom. But Queen, before we get into today's episode, what do you want to do first? The sponsor, or do you want to do the did you know? Sponsor. Okay. Well, this week's sponsor is, let me go ahead and find it. Make sure we can give y'all some visuals. Is the Modern Bride Concierge. All right, we're talking about marriage. We always trying to promote Black love. And if you are interested in having your amazing, beautiful, melanated love day be organized by some melanated, beautiful amazingness, make sure y'all head to themodernbrideconcierge.com. If you want to get a little sneak peek into what they have to offer, I'm gonna have the Queen go ahead and read their mission.
The Modern Bride Concierge is a full-service wedding planning and design company based in Southern California, specializing in timeless design and modern touches.
Timeless design with modern touches. Y'all don't play around. Make sure y'all go to themodernbrideconcierge.com or follow them at the Modern Bride Concierge on Instagram. if you're wondering how to spell concierge, keep on struggling like I struggled. Like, oh, I can't find a ball. How do I spell it? Listen, go to the YouTube, watch it. We'll put the link in the show notes as well. Entrepreneurship, concierge.
That word, let me tell you.
Just words that autocorrect just has to get every single time. But we are going to talk about the top 5 reasons why most couples are getting divorced. Very heavy topic, but hopefully we're able to get this message to you while you're in either the beginning stages, you're about to get married, you're about to use the modern bride concierge to have a timeless experience, and we can sprinkle some lessons before you have that big day. Or maybe you are in the middle of your marriage and you may be going through some hard times, some bumps in the road. Very common. Here are the 5 common reasons why people get divorced, and maybe we'll talk about some side steps, some strategies on how you can stay strong in your marriage. Before we do that, Queen, can you please hit the folks with the did you know?
I sure can. Did you know you do not have to be married to an all organic diet to get some of the benefits from eating an organic diet? Hear me out.
Yeah, explain that.
So you actually don't have to eat 100% organic produce to get a lot of the benefits, because there was research done, and it's called the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. This is the first time hearing about this. The Dirty Dozen was basically they researched the amount of pesticides that are typically found on fruits and vegetables, and they ranked them from highest to lowest. So the Dirty Dozen is a list of the 12 most pesticide-ridden fruits and vegetables that you want to make sure that you buy organic. Okay, so you don't have to get all organic, but if you're gonna get the benefits of an organic diet, you want to make sure that you're buying your strawberries, spinach, greens. This is kale, collard greens, mustard greens. These are all under one category. Nectarines, apples, grapes, bell peppers and hot peppers, cherries, peaches, pears, celery, and tomatoes organic, because those are typically the ones, if you're going around in the produce section in the grocery store, that are going to have the highest concentration of pesticides.
And pesticides are bad for us because
they are poisons. Now, they are created to kill little microorganisms, and we think of ourselves as big old organisms, so they're not going to kill us. We forget that we're also made up of little tiny microorganisms. Our immune system is made up of little tiny organisms. So by eating this stuff, we're actually harming the bacteria in our gut. We're harming our immune system. All of these toxins end up in our bloodstream. Our liver gets congested. It causes a lot of issues. So another benefit here I'm going to tell you about is the Clean 15. So on the other side of the spectrum, these are the list of fruits and vegetables that have the least amount of pesticides. So you don't actually have to get these organic if you don't want to, and you'll probably still be decreasing the pesticide load that you're consuming. So these are avocados, corn, pineapple, onions, papaya, sweet peas, asparagus, honeydew melon, kiwi, cabbage, mushrooms, cantaloupe, mangoes, watermelon, and sweet potatoes. So those you don't actually have to buy organic. You don't have to break the bank spending those extra $1 or $2 on the organic sweet potatoes. You can buy conventional sweet potatoes and feel confident that you're still decreasing the pesticide load.
There it is. All right. So one more time so I can make this a really good segue. Pesticides are bad because they kill the microorganisms inside of your body. So they might not affect you on the macro level, but they are affecting you on the micro level.
Which is
and
going
over
to
time
on the macro level.
will affect you on the macro level. So as we talk about these top 5 reasons why folks are getting divorces, like some of these may be micro things, some of these are macro things, right? But if you're not paying attention to the micro over time, over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it can start to create a macro situation for you, right? On this podcast, we have the opportunity of interviewing a lot of married couples who are in a pretty good state, right? Whether it's the business or even them as a married couple. We do reach out to some couples who are like, it's not a good time for us to come on. So unfortunately, I think we never get a chance to really talk to married couples who are going through the struggle, who can really actively, and the conversation could get real, but can really actively show us like, these are the struggles that we're currently going through. But while I was in Ghana, shout out to the aunties of Africa, I got to have some off-camera, off-scripted conversations about some of the hardships of marriage and some of the real negotiations or compromises that folks need to go through to have a happy and sustained marriage. So that's what kind of motivated this. I did tell the aunties of Africa that I would give them a shout out on the podcast. Hey, auntie. Black Panther. Hey, auntie. But we're going to get into the episode. If y'all have questions or comments, resources, definitely make sure y'all drop a comment down below. And of course, make sure y'all tap into the podcast on YouTube, give a like and subscribe. Queen, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's get into the episode. Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the health nerd.
And welcome to the M4 Show. All right, let's hop right into it. So as y'all I'm sure know already, 50% of marriages in America, unfortunately, are ending in divorce. One of the goals of the M4 Show is to help 100 melanated couples reach $1 million, right? Which means that one, they need to be married and stay married, right? So one thing that we're doing is trying to definitely make marriage more cool, more acceptable, make it more fun so that we can increase the amount of people who even want to get married. But on the other side of that equation, we also need to somehow help increase the amount of people who stay married.
Right. So that's only the first part, right? Getting married is the easy part. Staying married is the hard part.
Look, so reading an article from marriage.com, they went over the top 10 reasons why people are getting divorced, and we kind of extrapolate isn't the right word. What's condensed?
Sure.
Yeah, we condensed, combined to make it a little bit more efficient because we can talk. We can talk. So we put it down into 5 reasons why most folks are getting married. Can we just jump? We can jump right in. We don't need to.
We know we don't need extra fluff.
No fluff.
We don't need that.
Cheating. Was too?
You need to say just number 1. Just cheating.
My bad. Let me rewind. The number 1 reason why. So cheating and or abuse, and this is mental abuse, physical abuse, or any other types of abuse that people go through, was the number 1 reason, leading to 20 to 40% of a breakdown in a marriage. Let me pop that up on the screen. Queen, how do you feel about that? Do you think that is accurate, or your experience in that realm?
I don't have experience in that realm. Luckily.
You're darn right you don't. Come on now. Good answer. 10 points for Gryffindor. Good answer.
But it unfortunately does not surprise me that the number is high. Yeah, and it's just I guess just from hearing, just from living life, and you hear other people talk about, their parents or, their relationships or whatever. So, I definitely know that cheating, unfortunately, is something that is more common than it should be. Right. So it's a 20 to 40%.
Right. So I'll go ahead and read it. So extramarital affairs are responsible for 20 to 40% breakdown of most marriages and end in divorce. This is one of the most common causes of divorce. The reason why people cheat aren't as cut and dry as anger may lead us to believe.
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit harder to say why people cheat. I think that can go a lot of different ways. But it doesn't surprise me that is one of the top reasons, because I think that's a lot of people's deal breakers. But it's also what happens in a lot of marriages. So yeah.
So one of the other, this was a separate reason inside of, there are 2 separate reasons inside of the article they talked about. One was weight gain. And then they later talked about how weight gain for either partner or both partners can also lead to extramarital affairs. And then it also talked about just lack of intimacy, period, within the relationship, and how that can also lead to extramarital affairs, cheating, or abuse. So I think one thing is and I'm trying not to lead into one of the other things that come up, but making sure you have that open communication when it comes to appetite, intimacy, and things that you want in your relationship. I feel like you need to have those conversations. They may be awkward, but I feel like you need to have those conversations at the beginning of the relationship. Once kids come, things are going to change. Once grandkids come, things are going to change. So you need to make sure you're actively having those types of conversations all throughout your marriage and relationship. Anything else practical you think would help with the reduction of cheating or abuse within a relationship?
I think it's interesting that they put a cause as weight gain, because to me that's still not a root cause.
Why not?
Why does gaining weight, why is that a reason for cheating?
I don't think it's a reason for cheating. I think it could lead to,
Sounds like a cop-out answer to me.
it can definitely lead to a cop-out answer. And I think we had this conversation the other day on separating sexual attraction and separating that intimacy from actual love itself.
Right.
And I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of times those are coupled as one thing. The physical attraction, the emotional attraction, the spiritual attraction, all kind of coupling as one, instead of separating as, I love you, I love your spirit, I love your soul, which technically has nothing to do with weight gain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see in relationships how folks might gain weight, folks might differ in different values, and now physically the attraction is no longer there. So if the attraction is not there in this relationship, they start looking for it in other relationships.
I think, again, though, to your point, if the attraction is based on a number on a scale, it's doesn't, like, is it true attraction in the first place?
I don't think it has to do with the number. I think it has to do with the aesthetics. I think weight gain on there, like, it didn't say anything about pounds, but when I'm thinking about weight gain, I don't necessarily think about pounds per se. I think about the aesthetics of the weight gain.
I just think I think it's important for anybody, like, before you get married, definitely think about the possibility, like, okay, life happens, right? If my partner gains 30 pounds, is that going to change how I feel about them? And if you have some uncomfortability there, that's something that I think is important to voice. Yeah, because I think that weight fluctuation throughout life is normal. Now, of course, I think it's a little bit more normalized than it should, just because we generally aren't as healthy of a population currently. But I don't think that, again, that should be a reason why people's marriages are failing. So, yeah, I think it's just that's, I think, an internal, something you need to think of for yourself, but also something you need to talk with your partner about.
Oh yeah, and that's gonna tie into number 5 when we come to it. So hold on to that. Hold on to the concept of weight gain, physical attraction, aesthetics, and see how it connects with number 5. Queen, are you ready to go to number 2?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Number 2 on the list is money problems or just financial disagreements or anything like that. Y'all know sometimes money makes people funny, right? So Queen, before I start reading some stuff, what are your initial reactions to money problems being a cause for divorce?
Knew that one. I would almost assume that one probably has the highest percentage of why it leads to divorce. Because yeah, it's a widespread, I think, problem that a lot of folks have at some point, just dealing with the stress of money. So dealing with the stress of money with another person, depending on how personalities may align or clash, depending on, again, how many of these conversations you've had beforehand, how you're going to handle situations, how money is handled between the relationship. I think those conversations are also important, so that, again, when money problems are going to arise, it's inevitable. So I think it's important, again, to have those conversations and kind of know how you are going to handle those problems when they come, so that it's not a surprise and you're not trying to figure it out as it's coming, because that's going to be very stressful, especially if kids are in the mix.
So according to divorce statistics, a final straw reason, so it doesn't say this is like usually the reason, but a final straw reason for divorce is lack of compatibility in financial arena and causes almost 41% of divorce. Right. To be honest, this is the one that I'm most worried about because I think money wise, we have different ideas of what to do with money sometimes. And even this morning, we were having a good conversation about real estate and it got a little bit stressful. And it's not a situation to where it's like we don't have enough money. It's more so a situation of, okay, we have X amount of dollars. What do we want to do with X amount of dollars? You know, if we give Sinclair $1 million versus give Devon $1 million, things might be a little bit different about how the money gets spent, right? And I think that's the other side of the coin that's difficult. It's difficult definitely when you're struggling and you have those financial concerns of not having enough bills or not enough money to pay the bills. I think it's a different kind of struggle when you have abundance and you have a differing opinion on what to do with the abundance, right? Any thoughts on that?
You just be thinking I would go wild out with a bunch
not
of money.
wilding out, but we do have there is a difference what we're doing. Not saying that what I would do would be better, not saying what you would do would be better, but they're different. And I think that's the struggle in communicating, and we do a good job at communicating, but I think that's the struggle in, okay, we have this X amount of dollars. What do we do with it? You think we should do this? I think we should do this. And then how do we come up to an agreement where nobody feels like they lost? Talk to me.
I feel like in our relationship, how we've kind of figured it out is that you're more financially savvy. So we have conversations, absolutely. So I'm able to voice my opinion most of the time. Though at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, hey, this is your lane. We're gonna do whatever you want.
I disagree.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about it. So one example is getting into investing into real estate. We had the opportunity to either pay off credit cards or invest in real estate. And because you are our real estate guru, you were like, you know what, let's slow down a little bit on the credit card payments. Let's take our time on that. And instead, let's make sure that we can save up, boom, buy this real estate property, and then we'll go back to the credit cards. Right. So in that sense, I listened to you. I was like, you know what, Queen, I got you. You want to invest in real estate? You want me to slow down on credit cards? I got you, Queen. And that's exactly what we did. Right.
We see that how that went down differently. This is not the time to get into that though.
No, but that is 80% of what happened.
Sure.
At least. Right. Another situation, Bitcoin, right? We needed to make a nice little pull out, nice little withdrawal. I was like, okay, Queen, I got you. I'll listen to you. Boom, did it. So I'm not saying that's every situation, but I do think that there is a good back and forth of what we end up doing with money. The other thing that money sometimes does is money is sometimes attached to, well, especially in America, power. So when one person in the relationship has more access to the money, they have more seemingly power in the relationship. Would you say that's accurate?
Yes.
Yeah. In our situation, something that we've done, and Steve Harvey's talked about this on one of the accounts too. But he talked about having several different bank accounts. I think that's something that we've done to split up the power of the money to make sure we both have access to almost all the money that we have access to, right? So we have, Sinclair has her individual account that I don't have access to, but sometimes I ask her for $1.
Yes.
You have $1?
Yeah, you can have $1.
Bet. I have my individual account. We have our joint account, which has most of our funds and pays some of the bills. And then we have the business account. So she has access to all the accounts except my personal one. I have access to all the accounts except her personal one. So the power in money financially is pretty much equal. You like that setup or do you not like that setup?
I do like that setup. I think what the concern that I brought up in the past is we need to get better at how we manage the business funds and basically how we pay ourselves.
You mean how we pay me?
Sure.
You be getting paid.
I get paid.
Yeah, you be getting paid.
Could get paid more.
You want a raise on the podcast? That's what's happening right now. You over here pressuring me for a raise. We gonna talk about your quarterly reviews. We gonna get to it.
Anyways, like I said, just to make sure, like a lot of what entrepreneurs say, like they say, pay yourself first. So we just need to get better at making sure that we have our expenses covered, right? We're not struggling while we have business funds available. Doesn't make sense for us ever to be really struggling, because that's our money too, right? So we need to also just get better at, especially as we both move towards becoming full-time, that's going to be super important.
Right.
So yeah, we do definitely need to get better at that. I think once we get better at that, I will feel more confident.
What does better at that look like?
At how you get paid. Like, we don't even know how that, like, have that set procedures, like how that happens. So, I mean, to simply have a procedure about how we pay ourselves would make me feel better.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm spending a lot of time on this one because, again, I feel like this is the point that we need to get stronger in, right? And very, very transparent. If folks have, advice for us, especially as entrepreneurs, on best ways that we can handle money, best ways that we can divide up money, all that stuff within the business, that's helpful. Because for me, that's the thing that I think causes probably the most tension within our entrepreneurship relationship.
We do have a comment in there.
Go ahead.
You've heard of the love languages, even apology languages. Why not learn your partner's financial language?
That's a good one. What is your financial love language, or your financial language? So my financial language is reinvestment. My financial language is all money in, right? So I usually don't pay myself personally, because I like to keep the money in the business to buy more board games, to be able to travel, to be able to pay staff members, to buy camera equipment, to do all that stuff, rather than paying myself at this current moment because I have other streams. What is your financial language, Queen?
It's more of a balance between, like, using the funds to enjoy life now, but also reinvest. I'm also into reinvesting. That's why he's talking about real estate. Like, that's one of my preferred forms of reinvesting. But I'm also an advocate of paying yourself first. So yes, we have worked hard to build this. We should also reap some of that benefit. So yes, I'm an advocate of finding a balance for both, but I do love to travel. That's why, part of my why, right?
I like to travel too.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, we should be able to budget for trips. Like, that should be something that is set aside from the money from the business, is going towards our ability to travel. That's important to us.
Which we do. Yeah. So like I said, this is a live, intimate, what's another good word that describes this podcast? What's currently happening, Sinclair? You got it. Go. It's right there.
I literally don't have it.
No, I was just trying to avoid the awkward silence. But again, finances and money can be a huge tension in relationships. But just because there's tension doesn't mean that there needs to be any type of separation. Build from the tension, be able to communicate, which leads us to the next reason. Number 3 top reasons why folks are getting divorced is poor communication and poor conflict resolution, right? So again, money wise, we're not seeing 100% eye to eye, but y'all just saw us live be able to communicate through it, work through it. Nobody yelled, nobody cussed, because I have the camera on her. And after this, she gonna warrior woman king me. Oh man, but poor communication is another, again, huge reason why folks are getting divorced. Queen, do you mind using your amazing eyes to read this?
Poor communication. This can ultimately be a cause of divorce for 57.7% of couples.
57.7. See how specific they were in even this percentage. Communication, accurate, right? 57.7% of couples. And that goes back to who the Facebook user who put the love languages, right? If you're not communicating love languages, if I don't know words of affirmation or how you like to be communicated with, off top, I'm already doing poor communication. If every time I come to you, I'm talking about the negative, if every time I come to you, I'm nagging you about something bad, and your love language is words of affirmation, we're never going to be on the same page, right? Queen, anything you want to add to that?
I think those conversations are not always fun, but they're necessary. And I think that even though it may not be fun to have them, think about the alternative is you don't have the conversation, and whatever that situation kind of blows up, and then you're gonna wish definitely that if it could have been avoided with the simple conversation, even if it was an awkward conversation, you're probably gonna wish that you had that conversation. So yeah, I'm not as much of a talker as he is.
Word.
So he's very good. This is a dynamic of our relationship. He's good at initiating a lot of those conversations. But I'm usually thankful, afterwards, that like, okay, we've addressed this situation. So even though it wasn't the funnest 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how long this conversation goes. It's like, okay, that's like one less thing that I need to worry about in the future, or at least I know where his head's at.
Right. Go ahead and put your hand back on my shoulder. It felt comfortable. I do. Oh, okay. With the massage too. All right. I appreciate it. I do want to just reemphasize that good communication doesn't always mean comfortable communication.
Right.
Good communication doesn't always mean that it's going to be all positivity, sunshine, and rainbows, but sometimes there are conversations that need to be had, right? So learn how your partner likes to be communicated to, right? We had a really good conversation. This was maybe like 2 years ago, but when we finally learned each other's like love languages and really broke it down, you were like, words of affirmation, that's my love language. And before, I don't think I'm a critical person. I am a optimistic, very positive person. But if something was wrong, I would only say the wrong thing. Or if I needed something done, like I would say, oh, I need this, without first giving oh, I appreciate how you did this. Or, oh, I hope you're having a great day. Thanks, Queen, for doing this. Now I need you to do this. I was just business right to it. But since learning the amazing Queen's love language of words of affirmation, I would like to hope that I've gotten, just a little 57.7% better.
Yes, you have. You've gotten a lot better.
Thank you.
Good job, King.
So first step is you need to learn that love language and then actually practice it. Actually use it. It may take some time, may take some months, may take some years, but actually use the communication skills that your partner appreciates. All right. Anything you want to add on that before we go to number 4? Yeah, 4.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Number 4 on the list is lack of equality. And in here, let me go to the notes. I have a sense on what it was talking about, but I want to see what it says. So lack of equality comes closely behind the number one cause of divorce: lack of intimacy. When one partner feels they take on more responsibility in the marriage, it can alter their view of the other person and lead to resentment. Oof. That's a tough one. This was, I think, one of the major ones that came up with the Aunties of Africa. And it was the fact that before in our relationship, this is what we said our responsibilities were. And then I got a new job, and then we got kid number 1, then we got kid number 2, and then we got kid number 3. And I'm doing all the motherly responsibilities, and I'm working a job, and I'm doing my wife responsibilities. My responsibilities keep on increasing, but yours aren't. So there's no equality in the responsibilities. So that seemed like a huge pattern that I was able to talk through with folks. How do you feel about the lack of equality in a marriage?
I definitely see how that can lead to just literally not seeing eye to eye anymore. And to your point, like, life has stages, right? Your marriage has stages. Everything has stages or phases, however you want to think of it. So I think it is important to have those touch points of like, okay, these are the roles we set out previously. Do these still make sense for where we are right now?
Right.
Like, okay, we got a baby now. How are our household? How are our financial? How are our entrepreneurial? All of these duties. How do we divide these now to where it makes sense? Right. I'm gonna be nursing. So how does that change our dynamic in a household, or vice versa? Yeah, I think it's very important to have that. I don't know how often makes sense that may vary, person to person, couple to couple, but I think it is important, at least like once a year, just touch base, like, because a lot of things can change in a year, right? We went through a whole pandemic, right? Maybe you were both working, maybe you were both working in your jobs, and now you're working at home, right? That's reevaluate. Like, okay, now we work from home. How does this work now? How do our roles and duties alter for our current situation? So I think that, it's important life phases, with life changes, and just with personal development and growth. It is important to reevaluate and make sure that both people are getting their needs met. And I think that it takes a level of responsibility on both persons' sides to know that, like, it's an active process. Like, being married is an active process. You have to
love is an active process.
Yes, it's not like if you wanted to lose 10 pounds, you're not just gonna wish yourself 10 pounds lighter, right? You have to actively work on that. You have to change how you eat. You have to get out and walk. You have to get out and you have to meditate. You have to, you have to do all of these things to put yourself in the state to be able to release that weight. And I think that is kind of the same thing with marriage is, if you, whatever type of marriage you want to build, you have to be an active participant in making that happen. So yeah, I think that sometimes we can kind of get into like autopilot mode when you're comfortable, you've got that routine, but life has changed and it's now time to reevaluate and make sure that what you're doing now makes sense, and vice versa for your partner. So yeah, I just think it takes responsibility on both people's end to be like, am I happy right now? Does this make sense? No. Okay, then it's my responsibility to bring this up to my partner and make sure that I have made my thoughts known, whatever needs I have that are not getting met, to voice those, right? And then it's also on the other person's responsibility to not only hear that and really receive, but also be open to making those changes. And I think that that's another thing. I know I'm probably going down a rabbit hole here.
I don't know what you're talking about, Sinclair.
I think that's another thing that can cause rift is people just getting set in their ways and no longer willing to even make change. And it's like,
that's a fact.
At that point, you're just two people living in the same house.
Yep, which I have experienced, not in our marriage, but in like other family members, how they're just in the same house. They may have separate rooms. They may not be going on dates anymore. They're still married, still in the same household, but they're just kind of like roommates, which is an interesting situation. I have a few comments. Yeah, I don't, I'm not gonna put a number on it, but first thing, like you said, like how often should folks be checking in? I like the rhythm and culture kind of that we have, and I know my dad does this too, of doing like every single year at the New Year's, doing like vision boards, right? Do that by yourself, do that with your partner, and be like, okay, this is my current vision for me, this is our vision together, this is still how many kids I want, this is still the dream house I want, this is still my dream job or dream business, this is still my dream relationship and things that I want from my partner. And at least once a year, get in the habit of doing that together. So it's a good check-in point where, definitely you can have some conversation throughout the year, but I feel like you want to, and this is coming to what Coach T would say, what are your procedures, right? What are the things that you do within your the culture of your relationship that allow you to check in without having to think, just be on autopilot? Every single year during New Year's is going to be your opportunity to re-energize the relationship and check in on things.
Another natural point that could help folks is your anniversary. So it is a kind of a natural point throughout the year that you're going to be focusing on your union, on your marriage, and hopefully celebrating. But I think along with that celebration, again, that could be also a good point. It doesn't have to be on the anniversary, maybe the day after. Maybe you have one day where you're just staring each other's eyes, and then the next day you have that conversation of like, hey.
It was too fast of a transition. Sorry. You went from rubbing my face to, oh man.
And then the next day it's that sit down of like, okay, we've made it to however many years.
Yeah.
Where are you right now? Like, are you happy? What can I work on? What can, I think that's another natural point to really, really reevaluate the marriage, the relationship, and what you can do to change.
So I want to bring up one more point. I do like that. And I think this is kind of riding that wave, and hopefully we don't go too deep into a rabbit hole. All right, we're going to get back to the episode in a second, but breathe. If you've ever had a brilliant idea, I'm pretty sure everybody just took a breath right there, right? Because we all have amazing ideas, but I got a question for you. What's stopping you from taking that idea and actually making it into a business, actually executing on your brilliance? My name is Truvel, and in 2018, I was able to create, market, and sell my own product while still working a 9-to-5. And through the years, I've taken the lessons we've learned, the expensive webinars that I've gone to, and the dozens of business books that I've read, and I've discovered 7 simple steps to launch your business. If you're ready to take your business idea to the next level and make it real and start making profit from your passion, head to www.launchitcommunity.com and grab yourself the book. We've been able to make it very simple, affordable, and easier than ever to start that business while still working your 9 to 5. And we take entrepreneurs every single Friday and we talk to them. We teach them about how to use social media. We teach them about how to set up their Instagram account, how to use Shopify, how to use Printful and other tools that can help you take your business to the next level, but not take tons of time away from your 9 to 5 and your busy life that you already have. So if you're ready to take that idea to the next level, make sure you head to www.launchitcommunity.com, get yourself a book, and join our free accountability calls. Now, let's get back to the episode. But I want to talk about equity versus equality. Because I think the trouble and one of the biggest barriers of marriage is people are looking for equality. People are looking for, I give this much effort and my partner gives the exact same effort with the exact
50-50.
Right. I'm looking for a 50-50. You pay this 50%, I pay this 50%. You take out the trash 50%, I take out the trash 50%. You cook 50%. Like, I think we're looking for that equal relationship. But in my mind, and last year when the FYB team came out, I think this was Derek's point on, like, I don't look for equality in a relationship. I look for equity. If I have strong things that I know I can do, if I can hold more weight, why would we carry the same weight?
Right.
If me and you are stranded in the desert and there's 2 bags that are 50 pounds each, it does not make sense for us both to carry the 50 pounds.
Right.
It makes sense for me to unload some stuff that's in your backpack, put some stuff in mine, maybe another 10 or 15, because you got strong legs too, but a little bit more. Yeah, you got, you know what I'm saying? You be doing your thing.
My kilograms.
But it makes sense for me to hold more weight. If we are in a situation where things need to get organized and we need to look at something because it doesn't make sense for me to be like, no, Sinclair, I'm going to read 50% of this sign that I can't see and you read the other 50. It doesn't make sense, right? You should be reading that sign because you have the better vision. I should be carrying the bigger backpack because I have the stronger legs, point blank, period. And I think sometimes in marriage, based on, I don't know if it's based on just capitalism. I don't know if it's based on what we see in the environment, but I think we're looking for a 50-50 split.
Right.
Or even if we can get better, if we can do I do 40, you do 60, how can I finesse into getting more out of this marriage? That's not the point of marriage. Right. You're not trying to finesse your queen. You're not trying to finesse your partner. Lose. You are going to lose every single time. I think the point is, how can I give as much as possible to my person, to my partner, to make their life better, to make their life easier?
I have a small example, but I think it kind of gets the point across of how even I've evolved in this marriage. So driving. I used to have that very 50-50% when it came to driving. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna drive there and you gonna drive back. Okay. Or we're gonna stop here and then you're gonna take over. And then that's about halfway, right? That's like, that was me. Like, why am I driving more than I should be? We gotta hold our own ends, like, right? At this point, right? I've now realized, one, I'm the better driver. Sorry, no offense.
What is happening on this podcast? What do you mean?
I'm sorry.
You are the faster driver. Let's just make sure the adjectives are correct.
And I mean, no offense, if we look at our records, I'm also the better driver. So if I can get there faster and avoid an accident or a ticket, I think that means I'm better driver. Sorry.
This podcast was brought to you by speeding tickets and hit and runs.
Like I said,
not on my side. The hit and run was we got hit. I just want to clarify that for people watching.
We
got hit.
Person out there. Just, anyways.
Whole another story.
Yeah. So one, like I said, in all seriousness, I do believe I am the better driver. I can get us there safely and I can get us there quickly. 1. 2, I actually like driving. Like it's not a chore for me, right? Especially if I can get some music on, and just kind of, or get a podcast on. Because when I used to have to make that commute, that was my time to really listen to podcasts, really start to learn, get motivated. So I feel like that time frame, everything serves a purpose, right? That time frame where I had to make that community, I think kind of changed my relationship with driving. I'm like, okay, I don't mind it now. This is an active learning time, or a passive learning time. So with those things, keeping those things in mind, why am I so hard on making him drive 50%? Because does it really matter if I drive the whole way? Not really. It doesn't really make a difference for me, because we're going to get there. And truthfully, sometimes when I'm sitting in the passenger seat with him, it's still stressful for me, because I'm just like, we're going so slow. Speed up. Come on. We can get in the carpool lane, right? And it's like, it's still a stressful situation for me. So it's like, I just might as well be in control, right? That's another thing. I like to be in control. So just get behind the wheel. And he doesn't care.
I don't.
He can be working, right? What he likes to do, he's a workaholic. So by me driving, he can have his laptop, he can do whatever work he wants to do, he can listen to whatever he wants to listen to, in your headphones, because number one rule, driver gets to choose what we listen to.
Yes, ma'am.
But yeah, I think that was something that I had to evolve in, and then that's a microcosm for, of course, other things. But just to kind of put your mindset in where I used to be, is like, it has to be a give and take. It has to be a 50-50, to where now it's like, yes, I take on most of the driving, and that's okay, because he takes on a lot more of other things, right? And so it's building that equity. Same thing with cooking, right? He's definitely
talk about real quick.
Okay.
Hey, so
sidebar. Tangent.
Let's swerve a little bit, right? Because you dissed me on my driving, so I need to balance these scales out. Talk to the people about the delicious meal that was cooked for you the other night.
Okay. So if you ask him, he would say, "Oh, Queen, you just cook so much, and I need to show you that I love you and cook for you." The real reason, real. Last weekend, I wanted some steak and eggs. And I was really thinking like diner steak and eggs. So I wasn't like going all gourmet. So I just bought some steaks. I did a quick little like pan sear, and it was really quick. And honestly, they didn't turn out that great. I am a chef. Steak is my kryptonite. I don't know what it is. I just am not good at cooking steaks.
It was funny because she asked me, like, we were in the middle of eating, and she was like, "Oh, how's the meal?" And I was like, "Oh, the pancakes, delicious. The eggs. Ooh, the eggs are really good. Ooh, that spinach, ooh, that's delicious." And then she was like, "Okay, you're just gonna avoid talking about the steak, huh?" I was like, it's on the plate.
He literally went around the plate and said something about everything except the one I actually wanted to know about. Long story short, he wanted to outdo me. And you know what? I have no problem with him trying to outdo me.
I wanted to educate you. I did not have any intent on outdoing you. That was just the result. But I wanted to just educate you on the way that steak should be cooked and properly prepared hours in advance. I just wanted to give you a proof of concept to show you that it could be done. And now you know, and now you have the technique, and you're going to do it. Just like in entrepreneurship, I started the business to show you that it could be done.
Don't try to.
It's the same.
Don't try to. You see how he just finessed that?
You see that?
How he? Okay.
This is what I deal with. So my role in the relationship, Queen, is to lead, and to lead by example, and to show myself, show you, show us what is possible. And I do that in every fashion, including cooking delicious steak. So I just want to, fast forward a little bit to the delicious steak. What would you rate it out of 10? So we can get back to the episode. What would you rate that delicious jalapeno garlic barbecue filet mignon?
I'd probably rate it a 9. It was up there.
Talk to me.
It was up there. Literally, yeah, it was perfectly cooked. Perfectly cooked. Had a little char on it, but it was perfectly medium. Had some pink, not red, but some pink in it. Yeah, it was super tender. The flavor was the first bite was a little heavy on the salt, but you got used to it after a while. And I love salt. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Himalayan salt too, so it wasn't that bad for you.
Right. Well, not the stuff that's gonna raise your blood pressure, So yeah, it was delicious. I was iffy about the flavor combination. That was also good. Yeah, it was honestly great. The only thing I said that it could make it give that 10 is just a little bit on the salt, just like literally like two little salt kernels, whatever they're called, grains. And then just some sauce. The sauce was good, so I wanted some extra sauce to put in my really sop my steak in, and then my potatoes too.
Okay, noted. But I do want to get back to the actual conversation, right?
What we talking about again?
We were talking about equity versus equality, and you brought up some great points about how you used to be very intentional and measured about, okay, I'm gonna drive 50% if we're driving up to Northern California, or if we're driving, to my parents' house and back, I'm gonna drive there, and then you're gonna drive back. But there was a tipping point where you were just like, you know what? I think I don't mind driving personally. I think within this relationship, I'm the better driver. We'll unpack that on another time. You know what? We'll unpack another time. But I'm a better driver. She's a better driver, and Devon can get work done while we're in the car. So I think it's about I love how you were thinking about the holistic relationship and not thinking about me as individual.
Right. That's where the shift is.
That's where the shift is what, as a unit, our time is our time, right? It's not about my time versus his time. It's our time. In this hour of transportation, what is the most efficient use of our time? One, Sinclair will get there faster. That is a fact, right? So already we're getting there to the destination faster, more efficient. Devon will be able to get work done to produce revenue, produce content, to produce energy for our business while I drive. So while we're driving, we're also working, producing, more efficient, right? So yeah, I think that was just a good bar that I'm hoping people pick up on, is like, when you're thinking about activities that you're doing, responsibilities that are yours in the relationship, don't think about it as just me time. Think about it, how does me doing this create other opportunities for my partner, for my kids, for other people within the relationship? And is this the most efficient way that I can be serving our relationship?
Right. And I think that even if it's something that you sacrifice to allow that person to have some me time, right? So I think about, especially like when kids come into the play, right? If mom is struggling, right? What can I do to just maybe give that mom just a little, like 30 minutes of time a day just to do her own thing, right? And again, it doesn't, that is still helping the unit, because now she can come back and be her full self,
more energized,
right? Not drained. So again, it's looking at the whole unit as a whole, rather than pieces of it, right? Rather than what's going to be best for me, what's going to be best for her, but what is actually going to be best for our unit.
Are you a team player?
Yeah.
Right. It's like sports or dancing, which is a sport.
Yes.
Right. Okay. I don't want to get
the fact that you questioned it.
We had another conversation about something. You were like, that's not a sport. And I was like, oh, okay. And I don't know if it was dance or if it was another thing.
I don't know.
No, so it definitely wasn't dance. What you're saying?
It's not dance. You know my stance on dance. My stance on dance.
Hey. Which leads perfectly to our next topic, which is vision and values aren't aligned, right? And values, one of them being dance as a sport. It's a value.
You saying we're not aligned?
We are aligned. That's why it's important. No, we are aligned. But I think this is a huge kind of general bucket, but very important to have the vision of your relationship, of the roles that you'll play for each other and for yourselves. That needs to be aligned, or at least very close to being aligned. And then what you value as a person, what you value in your partner, also should be in alignment with that. And this goes kind of back to what we talked about in number 1 with cheating and being unfaithful. If fitness is a prime core value for you as an individual, that needs to be communicated to your partner, right? Because if, let's say, 20 years, 30 years goes by, they've had 5, 7, 10, 15, 11 kids, right? And they have gained weight, and the fitness of core value, the core value of fitness was never communicated, and you're over here complaining about something that never was put into expectations of your relationship. Money. We talked about the use of money, investment versus leisure and vacation. And how are y'all talking about your value of money? Love, intimacy, like all those things are values. And if you're not in alignment, or at least in communication about those values, I think that can lead to a lot of tension and ultimately divorce.
And I think it's also figuring out which values are your personal values that just need to get communicated so that they're aware, they're on board, and which values you expect to be shared values, if that makes sense.
Break it down.
So like you said, fitness. For some folks, they maybe their working out time, their fitness time is really just for them. Like that's their me time. I don't need to work out with you.
That's a fact.
I just know that that's me and that I treat my fitness, regime very seriously. So you just need to know that I'm going to have my 30 minutes to an hour out of the day to work out, and don't have an issue with that. Right. So there's that, but there's also the like fitness is important to me. And I also want it to be built into the fabric of my family. So it's important for us to work out together, or it's important for us to have a workout routine. It's important for us to do that with our kids. I think that's a different conversation in my opinion, because now I have to now be on board with that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does, but I think there's also that third one of fitness is important to me, and I want fitness to be important to you.
Yeah.
Not necessarily we have to do it together all the time. And I think that's probably where I'm at, because personally, I love working out, but I like being with myself when I work out. So I can listen to my audiobooks. I can have my weird thoughts and conversations with my head. And I don't have to be like social, right? And that's why, you're going to your yoga scene. You're like, Devon, come to yoga with me. I'm like, I'm good.
There's no socialness in yoga, by the way.
There's not, but there kind of is. I don't know. I feel like for me, whenever I'm around people, I'm social. So it's going to happen. Even if I don't want it to happen, it's going to happen. So I separate what I do for fitness versus being social. Like when I'm going to the gym and people are trying to talk to me, I'm like, why are you talking to me? I'm at the gym. I have my headphones on. People will come up. I've had like 20-minute conversations with people that I don't know, and they'll come up and they'll talk to me.
You're such a high eye for the fact that you said you don't want to talk to someone, but you had a 20-minute conversation with them.
First off, it was it was a good conversation.
I would have been like, I'm busy. 2 seconds, done.
It was a really good conversation. We were talking about ancestry.com, and he was letting me know how he literally was able to find his father and like his other siblings through Ancestry. And I was like, oh, my father-in-law had a very similar, like it was a really good conversation. I rather it happen outside of the gym, but it was a really good conversation, and I didn't want to end it because it was flowing. It was kind of emotional. It was good stuff. But again, I was like, I'm in the gym though, so I just lost 20 minutes of my workout. My 6-pack is 1 pack down now. It's a little bit.
I think another example is like travel. I know that we have like friends who like one of them's really into travel and the other one's not. And it's like, if that is something that is important to you, and that is something that is you want as a part of your life, you need to y'all need to figure that out, right? Because what you don't want to happen is that's not set as an expectation, or that's not communicated, and now you just don't get to travel, and now you're gonna resent that person because they're the reason you don't get to travel, because they're not into travel. You know what I'm saying? And so
why are you pointing at me?
That's not you. We both like to travel.
Okay, I'm just saying, you're pointing at me.
Good? I'm just saying that's another example. Like, make sure you're on the same page, especially for stuff that is expected for you to be doing things together. So that kind of goes back to the communication, right? But yeah, I think it's important to make sure that your values align. Because otherwise there's going to be a lot of riffing back and forth, a lot of tit for tatting, a lot of all these words that
yes. But yeah, important. And I think this is another opportunity during your anniversary, during your New Year's resolutions, to revisit your values, revisit the vision. I know we have a note where like in 10 years, we want to be here. Right. And we have that note in Google Keep saved. And I think it's set to every 6 months. It gives us a reminder. We'll go through that vision. Like, all right, is this still where we want to be? Is this still where we're working towards? Some things may change. Some things may get better. The dream may get bigger. The dream will get bigger, right? Because you should accomplish the goals that you set and then create bigger goals. So yeah, I think that's another opportunity to do this activity. All right, you good on the 5? Let's review. Number 1 is cheating and abuse. Number 2 is
money problems.
Number 3 was poor communication and poor conflict resolution. Number 4 was
lack of equality.
And number 5 was vision and values aren't aligned. All right. So this is a great time. Hopefully you can share this with a married couple, or a couple that's recently engaged, and just have them talk about these issues, or talk about these these things that are barriers for a lot of couples, to see how they can jump over those barriers, knock down those barriers, kick down those doors, and make sure they have a strong marriage for the next 100-something years. Okay. We came up with this idea maybe like last week. You know what I'm talking about?
The challenge?
Yeah, the challenge.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So shout out to the Social Proof podcast. David, Donnie, and Neo was on there as a guest. They were talking about challenges and really engaging with the community. So then I come to the Queen. I was like, Queen, what can we do to engage with our community in really a meaningful and valuable way? Like, what can we do to really help lay the foundation for building an amazing, beautiful, melanated marriage? So we took some time and we crafted out a 3 to 4 day challenge. It's not completely done yet. I'm giving y'all a sneak peek. All right? I'm giving y'all a sneak peek. If you're interested in learning more information, put MDMC inside of the chat wherever you're watching this, wherever you're listening to this. MDMC will hit you up with more info. But we're still really just like, what can we do to help people build a strong foundation to their marriage? What are some challenges that we've gone through as married couples, as an entrepreneur? What are some things that we're seeing other people go through? And we also reached out to some amazing partners, some amazing people. Can I drop names, or is it too early to drop names? You tell me. You tell me.
You drop one.
Drop
Give
one
them a little
name.
teaser.
All right, so I'm gonna say this one because I already said the other name already. Married into Crazy. They've been on the podcast two times, at least 2 times. They're gonna come on. They're gonna be able to break down the DISC assessment. What is your natural personality? What is your adaptive personality? How can you make sure your personality and your partner's personality are working together in harmony? They'll go through their crazy method. Don't ask me what crazy means. Are compassionate, zealous, yielding.
I think real.
Compassionate, real. What's the A? Something. Zealous, yielding. What is the A?
Oh, they're gonna get us.
They're gonna get us. If you want to find out what the A is, what the crazy method is, and what your personality is within the DISC assessment, make sure y'all tap into our challenge coming very, very soon. I'm excited for it. What are you excited for when it comes to the challenge?
Honestly, probably, yeah, for them to kind of go over the DISC assessment, and for people to, like, there may be people out there who've never done it before, and maybe that's their opportunity to first kind of dive into the assessment and figure out what they are. So yeah, I think that's been a real game changer for us in our relationship. So I'm excited for other folks to maybe be able to have that light bulb for them, for their union, their marriage, their coupleness.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. A lot of value coming through. So make sure, again, if you're interested in learning more about the upcoming challenge, we can't even give y'all the name yet because it's not finalized, but you can put MDMC inside the comments. And this challenge, we're going to make this, kind of learning a little bit from LaRussell and some other people out there. This is going to be a pay what you want challenge. What is your marriage worth to you? You can go ahead. You can pay whatever you want for the challenge, whether it's $1. I'm looking at you funny if it's $1, but if it's $1, $50, $100, $10,000, whatever you feel you're going to be able to get value out of the challenge is what we will accept. And the value is going to be there no matter what, especially if you're willing to take action and commit to the execution of these small to big things. It's going to be some good stuff. I'm excited for us to learn and grow out of it, and excited to be able to give the value to other people. Get on the challenge. A little sneak peek, more to come. Stay tuned. For the Ask Declare this week, it's going to be a tough question for you, Queen. But we just went through the top 5 reasons for divorce. So for you in this Ask Declare segment, what is a marriage, what's it called? Game changer, deal breaker, can't do it. If this happens, it's over.
I think I feel like it's probably the same as it was in the past, which is that infidelity, the cheating, because we've had so many conversations about like possible alternatives. So it's like, I think because we've had those conversations, I feel like cheating at this point is just complete disrespect.
What are you doing?
Wow, like you did not think about me or our family at all. That would probably be the number 1 deal breaker.
You were thinking there was a number 2 up there?
That's probably
Yeah. I feel like that's probably the number one for me as well. It just seems like such a no-brainer answer though. I always try to be deep, I always try to be different, but at the end of the day, it's like,
I
no.
want your true answer though. When it comes to this, I want your true answer.
So I mean, a second if I'm giving another one, right? So that's definitely one. But just to add a little bit more to that is stealing. And we did talk about that the other day. Not that you did it consciously, but we were like, can you even steal from someone you're married to? The answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is for sure yes. Like, we have that business account. If for some reason I took X amount of dollars from that business account and I put it into my personal, didn't tell you, and I went and I bought a Black Magic camera for $7,000, I consider that stealing, right? Because we are co-owners of the business. Even though I have the power, just like you have the power to click withdraw, that shouldn't be happening.
Right.
If for some reason I withdraw on our 401k accounts and I take all the money out and I go buy, that's thievery. That is theft, right? So I think that is a close second. Just because they both have to do with trust. They both have to do with, can I trust you to do what's right and consider my feelings, consider my life in your decisions.
I feel like it also, just to take it a step deeper, because we know what we want to do with our money and our wealth, pass it down to future generations. It's like, you're not just stealing from me, you're stealing from our kids, our kids' kids. Like, you're stealing from this life we're trying to create for you, right? Super selfish. So I think that yeah, I concur with that. But yeah, just to take it another level on why it's like not even just the trust. That's a big issue to begin with, but also it's like that just super selfishness.
Yeah.
That would be just a huge turnoff. I don't know, you could come back from.
Yeah, not at all. This was a heavier episode than we usually do, but very, very needed. If you got any value out of this, definitely make sure you give us a like wherever you're listening or watching, and subscribe or follow wherever you are listening and watching, just to make sure this message gets to more people, and especially to more married couples who need this message to protect themselves and their futures. Queen, as we end today's episode, do you mind giving some updates that you have, anything that's on your heart that you would like to share with the beautiful people?
Yes. So we still have our Black History Adventures of Rose and Rodney campaign going on. Again, just in case this is your first time hearing about it, Black Wall Street, the board game, was created based on the history of Tulsa's Black Wall Street. And that's for ages like 5 or 8 and up. But we wanted to create something for the younger kids. So kids, 4 or 5 and up, that can still learn the history of Tulsa's Black Wall Street, but in a fun way, in a way that makes sense for them. So we're actually turning the children's book, Black History Adventures of Rose and Rodney, into an animated cartoon that will be able to come right to screens near you, so that the little youngins can also be learning this history of the powerful entrepreneurs that were killing the game back in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so it is super important that we're able to bring this to life. We're trying to do a whole season. So not just like a one little project. We're trying to give you a whole season, an 8-episode season. And this is just the first season of many to come. So we are looking for your support in creating this project. We got actors and actresses we want to pay, creatives, video editors, animators, right? A whole team that it's going to take to bring this project. I got to
pay myself. No, I'm not doing that.
What?
We talked about, Devon, you need to pay yourself. Am I on this list?
Yeah, you too. You're in there too. You gotta give the Devon a little chump change.
Get a dollar.
A little dollar. But anyways, it's gonna take money to bring this to life. So we are looking for support from the community. Anything you're willing to donate. And it is not, I say donate, it's a contribution, because you get something out of this. We have rewards. So you get games, you get custom pieces that anybody else who has this game is not going to be able to have. These custom pieces that we're providing for you, flashcards, and you can even get your name in the credits when we make this a real show. So definitely go and check out the rewards that you can get on your side. But on our side, we're going to be able, again, to bring this full 8-episode season to life, so that the youngins can really take this, absorb that history, and who knows what's going to manifest from that. what future entrepreneurs, doctors, lawyers, business owners, presidents, right, are going to come from them knowing this history and the empowerment that comes along with it.
That's a fact. And in all seriousness, in case you don't know me, I won't be taking any money from the thing. That was a joke. All money will be going towards the team and paying for other stuff, just in case you didn't catch the fact that earlier I don't pay myself out of the business. Just wanted to clarify that. But yeah, very, very excited. Like the Queen said, we have actually 7 seasons that are visioned out, mapped out, where they'll be able to go travel to different Black empires and cities all around the world. I just got back from Ghana. Mali is going to be one of the locations that Rose and Rodney go to. I learned a little bit more about Kemet from Tony Browder and Atlantis Browder. Kemet and Egypt is going to be one of the places that they go to. Seneca Village is going to be a place. Bronzeville is going to be a place. Rosewood, Allensworth. So all these amazing communities that were built that often aren't talked about in K through 12 school system or even outside the school system. We want to highlight, not just for our beautiful, amazing melanated youth in America, but for the entire world to be able to tap into whatever platform it's going to be on and learn about themselves, learn about their history, and see themselves in a light of power,
yes,
in a light of business, entrepreneurship, in a place of agency and privilege, so that they grow up, like the Queen said, assuming that can be my future too. You grow up as a 6-year-old, as a 5-year-old, watching doctors, lawyers, pilots, Madam C.J. Walkers, barbershop owners, restaurant owners, and that's what you're consuming subconsciously all throughout the day. There's no limit to who you're going to be 20 years from now when all your subconscious actions come to fruition. So we're very excited for the impact. We're very excited for the fun adventures of actually making the cartoon. So make sure y'all go to playblackwallstreet.com. Click on the campaign link right there and fund it. The fund has been extended to November 7th. So you do have the amazing opportunity to go to that link, share it with a friend, share it with a family member, and contribute whatever you're able to today. Queen.
King.
Queen.
King.
Queen. Anything else you would like to share with the beautiful folks before we wrap up episode 133 of the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show?
I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. All right. Well, we appreciate y'all for tapping in. Again, make sure y'all share this with a friend and give it a like just to help us out. We're seeing the growth in the analytics. We're seeing the growth. Keep it up. We appreciate you. We're definitely going to keep it up. We're going to be here every single week, giving y'all content, giving y'all value. My name is Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
And I'm Sinclair, a.k.a. the Health Nerd.
Make sure y'all secure the marriage. I'm gonna say that twice. This is because of the content. Make sure y'all secure the marriage. Make sure y'all secure the love. And of course, make sure y'all secure the bag. Peace. Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them, wherever you're listening, go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time.